We are inside the Pitti Palace in Florence, Italy. This is Vincent Price taking you back with our first picture, the Madonna and Child, to the most magnificent age of painting the world has ever known. It's named the Renaissance. During this golden era, man broke free from the bonds of the Middle Ages, stretched, looked about, and saw that the world was beautiful. The result was an incredible outpouring of masterpieces, such as the one we are looking at. This round panel, or tondo, was painted at the early part of the Renaissance in the 15th century. The infant Jesus is examining the seed of a fruit with the spontaneous wonder of childhood. In earlier religious art, the holy figures would have been formal, detached, but here they are as involved with life as we are, a real baby in the lap of a real mother. Notice, too, how the artist Fra Filippo Lippi has given us a sense of space, depth, and realistic detail that was missing from pre-Renaissance painting. He has brought a whole world to life. Moving to our second picture, we come upon a different sort of Renaissance painting. The key to this portrait is utter simplicity. Perugino wanted to focus our attention on a single image of quiet beauty, the peace of God which passeth all understanding. Here the artist has lifted reality to an ideal level of grace and nobility. Add to these qualities grandeur and go to picture 3, and we have a dramatic work from the High Renaissance. St. John and the Madonna support the limp body of Jesus at the deposition or descent from the cross. The bowed figure of Mary Magdalene at Christ's feet expresses a devoted grief that is beyond tears. Here is a moving tragedy being played out on a stage far more majestic than that of everyday life. In our next picture, we find ourselves in the middle of a holy argument. 4 saints heatedly dispute a point of doctrine, while the kneeling figures of Mary Magdalene and Saint Sebastian listen without joining in. Notice how Del Sarto uses gesture and movement to make the argument come to life. At the top, a vision of the crucified Christ hovers, seeming to imply that the Trinity itself will endure long after all arguments about it have ceased. Now in number 6, we come to the work of one of the great giants of the Renaissance, and indeed of all time. Why is Raphael considered so great? Well, look at this portrait. Few artists have achieved such a sense of harmony, of simple grandeur and nobility, and yet we don't feel he has flattered or idealized his subject. The man is alive and vital, a real person looking at us across the centuries. Notice the marvelous sense of depth achieved by the softly painted sky and landscape. See how, in our next picture, Raphael has illuminated the serene acceptance with which a woman awaits the wonder of childbirth. Against a black background, her skin takes on a lustrous pearly tone. Her expression is dignified, already reflecting the placid glow of motherhood. From the simplest elements, Raphael has created a masterpiece. And now, in our 8th picture, we come upon one of the best-loved paintings in the world. Grace, beauty, tenderness, is it any wonder that Raphael was called the Prince of Painters? The Madonna of the Chair was painted when he was at the pinnacle of his powers. The Madonna holds the infant Jesus, attended by the infant John the Baptist at the right. See how clear and brilliant the light is, how pleasantly rounded the figures are, like fine classical sculpture. The rounded forms repeat again and again the curves of the circular panel, a magnificent composition. And now, if you will turn the slide card over to number 9, we will meet La Donna Velata, the lady with a veil. She is tinged with all the mystery of womanhood as she poses against a dark background. In the pure oval of her face, we see again Raphael's ideal of perfect beauty, grace, and nobility. And yet there is sensuous richness in the delicately painted, rippling curves of the sleeve. Serenity is balanced with physical warmth in a portrait that bears the unmistakable stamp of genius. Italy produced many great portrait painters, and number 10 introduces us to the work of one of the most splendid of all, Bronzino. This is a 16th century Italian prince, but few princes were equipped by nature to look as grand as Bronzino painted them. He was a master of the art of subtle flattery, exaggerating the good points of his subjects to make them appear more handsome and distinguished. The figure is painted 3/4 length, which makes the prince look taller and more imposing. See the expression of bold command on his face, the rich fabrics and armor. No wonder Bronzino's talents were so much in demand. Our next painting brings to life a moment of powerful drama. As arrows pierce the body of Saint Sebastian, an angel descends from heaven with a martyr's crown. Notice how the harsh, twisted shape and movement of the tree add to the emotional excitement of the scene. the ideally beautiful figure of the saint, the glowing light of the background. These qualities remind us of Raphael, whose work Sodoma studied, but the overwhelming sense of drama, that is his own unique contribution. Now in picture 12 we come to the work of Giorgione. How skillfully this great Venetian painter has rendered the subtle differences in facial color, skin texture, and bone structure between boyhood, young manhood, and old age. Giorgione was famous for his use of oil paints to give a shimmering, poetic, dreamlike effect. Although he died in his early 30s, he influenced many of the artists of his day. Another Venetian painter, in number 13, has chosen to dramatize a moment of great suffering and great faith. Saint Agatha submits to Roman torture rather than deny her Christian belief. The painting is full of magnificent color and swirling movement which heightens the drama, an unpleasant subject, but Del Piombo has made it a powerful testament to human courage and spirit. Let us go now in picture 14 to a Renaissance concert. With its dreamy, soft tones of light and rich color, this painting reminds us of the three ages of man. Titian was influenced by Giorgione, but he added a much stronger sense of the real world. Look at the sensitive touch of the monk's hands as he plays the clavichord at the left. You feel the music in his soul. The hands alone would make this an immortal painting. Titian was also a great portrait painter, and in our next picture he has created one of the finest portraits of all time. We don't know who the subject was, possibly an English nobleman, but Titian has painted him as an unforgettable presence. With just a few details, the artist creates an illusion of sumptuous splendor. Against a dark background, the illuminated head commands our attention. The face is handsome, sensitive, mysterious, but the dark eyes look out at us with an air of strength and quiet command. Here indeed is the portrait of a man. Titian could also use the power of his imagination and his art, as we see in number 16, to express deep emotion. Mary Magdalene, her eyes swollen with tears, repents her life of sin. What a wealth of expression there is in this picture. The corner of cloud-torn sky, the tumbled coils of dark golden hair, all elements contribute to make us feel the woman's remorse and penitence. Technical mastery, emotional force, a masterpiece.